will have...
No, I lost the 50-50 on Ganyu and I've refused to play the game ever since. This is about the Battle of Zhongli in 507 AD. By the way, before all you Genshiners click away from this video, yes, it is related to media guy. Please, watch it, I need views. So yeah, history, right, yes. At that time, China was split between the Xin-sized Xianbei, or Proto-Mongolic, Northern Wei dynasty, and the Han Chinese Southern Liang dynasty. The Xianbei people, along with other nomadic peoples, had occupied northern China ever since the collapse of the Western Jin dynasty in 311 AD. After a long and bloody period, known to history as the 16 Kingdoms, the Northern Wei dynasty had unified all of China north of the Huai River. Meanwhile, in the south, successive Han Chinese dynasties had held on to their lands, and in 502 AD, a man named Xiao Yan seized the power from the Qi dynasty and established the Southern Liang. And as such, we set the stage for this battle. Northern Wei forces had invaded and successfully seized some Liang lands in 504 AD, and this prompted Xiao Yan to launch a northern expedition, said to be the largest expedition for a whole 100 years, to invade Northern Wei in 506 AD. It didn't go too well. For example, the main branch of the army was led by the emperor's brother, Xiao Hong, who abandoned camp and fled back to the capital after a rainstorm, with a large part of his army dispersing in the process. Well, I guess it seems that astrophobia was still a thing back then. But that didn't mean that Southern Liang didn't seize some victories. Our main character for today, Wei Rui, managed to seize an important fort, Hefei Castle, by damming the nearby river and flooding the city, then attacking it with ships. Meanwhile, after realizing that the main branch of the Liang army got utterly destroyed, the Northern Wei dispatched two of their best generals, Yuanning and Yang Dayan, with a huge army of between 270,000 and 400,000 for a counterattack. This army roamed around in the countryside, taking a number of castles before reaching the fort of Zhongli. Zhongli was an important castle and losing it would endanger the southern Liang capital of Tiankang. Seeing this, Xiao Yan dispatched a large army under a general named Cao Jingsong, who encamped his army on a nearby island along the Huai River. There was another island, Shaoyang Island, in the Huai River, and by building two bridges from this island to both shores, Yuanning was able to besiege Zhongli city on the southern bank of the river, while leaving half of his army under Yang Dayan on the northern bank, allowing Yang to guard supplies and ensure that the Wei army could dig in for a long siege. The greatly outnumbered defenders in Zhongli put up an extremely strong fight against the besiegers, repeatedly thwarting Yuan's attempts at taking the city. Cao Jingzong did not attempt to relieve the city, and after 5 months, the situation remained unchanged. It was now January of the year 507, and Xiao Yan, seeing the situation, sent Wei Rui north with more relief troops. Wei's army met with Cao Jingzong's army on the east bank of Shaoyang Island, and together they had 203,000 troops. They now took a position on Shaoyang, splitting the Wei army in two. And so, the Battle of Zhongli finally began. Yang Dayan launched a massive heavy cavalry attack against the Liang army, but was repelled by Wei Rui, who surrounded a camp of supply wagons to prevent the cavalry from reaching it, and ordered crossbowmen to rain arrow fire onto cavalrymen and spearmen to stab at their horses. Yang was forced to retreat. Yuanning then launched another attack, but was also repelled by Wei Rui. The Liang army couldn't be dislodged from this position, until the two halves of the northern army were still able to communicate. For now, the situation had worsened. Wei Rui now had the ability to launch a major attack, but he waited. You see, the Huai River, like most rivers, tends to rise greatly in the spring. The bridges, built during the autumn, were not meant to resist the high water levels of the spring. And best of all, if a ship crashed into a bridge at low water levels, it might just mean it got stuck on a bridge. If it crashed at high water levels, the bridge itself might just break. Wei Rui's patience paid off. That March, the Huai River rose by 6 feet. Sensing the opportunity, Wei now launched this attack. He ordered ships to be filled to the brim with flammables, and with the help of the wind, crashed into the two bridges, along with ordering soldiers to attack its foundations. The bridges were already under stress due to the violent waters, with wood weakened by the high water levels, and now was set on fire and cut down by axes. Now, what will happen to you if I left your legs in water till they started to necrotize, then doused you with gasoline and lit you on fire, then attacked you with an axe? You're right! You would collapse! That's what the bridges did. This cut off the two sides of the army, and the soldiers originally on the island were isolated and cut down. The collapse of these bridges also caused major chaos among the Wei army, and the ensuing massive Liang amphibious attack completely routed it south of the river. Yang Dayan also retreated his troops upon being attacked and seeing the collapse of the rest of the army. Over half of the Wei army was killed or captured in this battle, with estimates of around 200,000 casualties. And with this victory, the mortal threat to the southern Liang was lifted, and it would go on to experience 40 years of prosperity. Northern Wei was much less lucky. In 20 years, a civil war would begin that would split it in two and eventually cause it to collapse. Anyways, I'm sure all you Genshiners are bearing through this to finally find out how this battle is related to your Geo Papa, so I'll indulge you. Zhongli city was built in 538 BC and named after Seer Zhongli, which was a state that had formed when the Western Zhou collapsed at the beginning of the Spring and Autumn period. During this period, when the state was destroyed, as they eventually all were, its inhabitants took the name of their state as their surname to remember their homeland. This gave rise to many surnames, one of which was Zhongli's surname. And one individual with this surname was a legendary figure known as Zhongli Quan, who was one of the 8 immortals in Taoism and the first and most famous one. He was associated with the creation of gold and silver coins. And though we can't be sure, it's likely that this was one of the inspirations for Genshin's Zhongli. He was never known to call down meteors though. Anyways, the final message is that we don't always need to use such violent techniques such as a geometeor to solve our problems. The combination of a large river, large amounts of gasoline, and a lot of axes and a lighter can also do the same thing. Wait.